Why are people so selfish and self-centered? Get your popcorn ready, folks. Today's drama is about to begin. Back then, I truly had no idea. I never would have guessed that my peaceful work life would end like this. My days of thriving at a multinational company in Hong Kong were turned upside down overnight. The culprit? None other than the newly appointed manager. Saying she was self-centered would be an understatement. She was the epitome of main character syndrome. Let me show you her two-faced character starting from day one. At the interview. Of course, I'm available for emergency calls after hours. I did that at my previous job too. In reality, disappears after leaving the work phone. On her desk on her very first day. Her excuse? Work-life balance is important, you know. Where did that interview attitude go? Now let me share the full story of what I experienced. It all started when this new call center manager joined the team. From that moment, the company plunged into absolute chaos. Key performance indicators hit rock bottom, while technical support requests piled up like mountains. Employees were left helpless, scrambling to stay afloat. To address this crisis, we implemented weekly meetings. For a brief moment, things seemed to improve. But as soon as the meeting stopped, everything reverted back to square one. How bad was it, you ask? Technical support requests were like zombies, endlessly piling up and going unresolved. Employees were panicking and customers were at full rage mode. So what did I do? I started holding morning meetings every day. We'd go through all support requests delayed by more than 2 days. But this manager? She'd show up unprepared for the meetings every single day. The expressions on employees' faces were already saying, "Oh, this is going to be legendary, isn't it?" Even when we brought in an assistant manager to help, they weren't of much use. Meanwhile, the manager sat there like a ghost, pretending to participate. She'd open her laptop, but the screen stayed black. It was like her brain was on sleep mode. When asked during the meeting, "What's going on here?" she'd just sit in complete silence. Honestly, I've never seen someone so professionally committed to saying, "Absolutely nothing in my life." After 3 to 4 weeks, the company was in complete disarray. Work was backlogged, employees were burned out, and customers were furious. So I politely approached the manager and told her, "The situation is serious, and we need to improve your work attitude." And then, folks, here's where the real drama started. She went ahead and reported me to HR, claiming that I was abusing her. Here's the twist. The entire company was already observing this manager, like some kind of reality show contestant. It was like, what kind of drama will she star in today? Of course, this isn't just an example of selfish or self-centered behavior. It's a story about a manager's inappropriate conduct and neglect of responsibilities. But if we examine the selfish and self-centered traits displayed in this case, she displayed extreme self-centeredness from the very beginning. Ignoring her responsibilities, she focused solely on her personal comfort. It was as if others' struggles didn't matter to her at all. Her attitude was clear. If it's inconvenient for me, I won't do it. Her actions were also a prime example of distorted self-justification. She never admitted to any wrongdoing, and instead deflected any feedback by claiming, "Everyone's out to get me." It didn't stop there. She completely disregarded the negative impact of her actions on others and the organization. Then there was her irresponsibility to the organization and others. She blatantly ignored customer service issues, watched as her colleagues' workloads piled up without lifting a finger to help, and remained shockingly indifferent to the company's declining performance. But what stood out the most was her two-faced behavior. During the interview, she confidently promised dedication, saying, "Of course, I'm available for emergency calls." It sounded so convincing at the time. Yet once she started the job, she left the work phone behind on her very first day and outright refused any after-hours contact. Her excuse? Work-life balance is the best. In the end, it was clear that she was only ever looking out for her own interests. What's the scariest part? People like this genuinely don't think they're in the wrong. The word self-reflection doesn't exist in their vocabulary. If I'm uncomfortable, it means everything is wrong. If I'm struggling, I don't have to do anything. In the end, it's their co-workers who suffer. Work piles up, the atmosphere becomes toxic. But these people remain unshaken in their confidence. The scariest thing about selfish people isn't just the difference between their interview persona and their real behavior, it's that they don't even realize they're selfish. And because of that, they never change. At their next job and the one after that, they repeat the same patterns. The ultimate characteristic of selfish people is that They end up losing everything while pretending to be the best. Here's a golden tip for you. When you encounter this type at work, 9.9% of the time it follows this pattern. 1. At first you might think, oh, they're just adjusting to the new role. But nope, that's not it. 2. Then, as things get worse, you start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Let me save you the trouble. You didn't. Very finally, the realization hits you like a ton of bricks. Oh, that's just how this person is. Bingo! By this point, you're left speechless, right? One thing I've realized through this experience is, why are people so selfish and self-centered? Seriously, some people act as if they're the center of the universe. I'm the best. I'm always right and you're all wrong. It's like their life motto. And here's a more important question. Are we acting like this too? Today, we'll dive into this topic in an engaging way. Warning. By the end of this video, you might see human psychology and behavior in a completely different light. And maybe you'll even reflect on yourself. Shall we begin? Think about it. Haven't you experienced this before? For instance, imagine being on the subway and seeing someone blatantly place their bag on the seat next to them, as if it's their personal territory. Or think about a meeting where someone stubbornly insists on their ideas, completely dismissing the input or perspectives of others. When this happens, don't you think, wow, modern-day mini-dictators? But here's the question. Why do people act so self-centered? And wait, let's look in the mirror. Are we doing this too? Here's the shocking truth. Studies show that humans are naturally predisposed to be a little selfish. What, me? Selfish? No way, you might think. But scientifically, our instincts for survival and evolution have hardwired us to be selfish. Think of prehistoric times. If a lion appeared while hunting, would you think, should I let my friend escape first or should I? Hesitate for a second and you'd become the lion's dinner. Instinctively, you'd think, I just need to run faster than them. That survival instinct, looking out for yourself first, is embedded in our DNA. But we're not cave people anymore. These days, we deal with bosses and deadlines, not lions. Yet why do these instincts persist in modern society? Let's take a closer look at common examples of selfishness we see today. At a cafe, picture this. Someone occupies a prime seat for 4 hours with nothing but a single Americano. When confronted, they casually respond, "Seats? I'm studying right now," even though their laptop isn't even turned on. Even worse, they hog a 4-person table while sitting there all alone, ignoring everyone else who might actually need the space. On the subway, then there's the person who treats their backpack like it's an extension of their body. Other passengers' faces? Just collision targets, apparently. They act as if this is completely normal, thinking, this much impact is fine, right? And sure, they might give up their seat. But of course, the backpack stays firmly in place, as if it deserves its own spot. In the elevator, how about this classic? Someone presses the close button while making direct eye contact with the person trying to get in. To add insult to injury, they mutter a half-hearted sorry, while it's obvious they don't mean it. And their mindset? If I'm late, it's a crisis. If you're late, well, you should have left earlier. At the supermarket, and don't forget the supermarket. People race their carts like it's a competitive sport, shoving and crashing into others without a second thought. It's fine, it's their cart, they think. Their philosophy is simple. Whoever grabs it first wins. It doesn't matter who they inconvenience along the way. Here's what's interesting. These behaviors have become so normal to us. The funnier part? When others do it, that's so inconsiderate. When we do it, this much is fine, right? What we fail to realize is that these small acts of selfishness add up and make life harder for everyone. But here's the twist. Selfishness isn't always a bad thing. In fact, healthy selfishness is essential for a balanced life. For example, think about airplane safety instructions. Put on your oxygen mask first before helping others. Why? Because if you can't breathe, you can't help anyone else. The problem arises when selfishness goes too far and harms others. For instance, think of someone who shamelessly exploits others for their own personal gain, without a second thought. Or consider those who completely ignore the feelings of others, acting as if empathy is a foreign concept to them. So where's the line between healthy selfishness and toxic selfishness? The key is balance. Take care of yourself, but also consider others. Here's an important question. How can I become a better person while taking care of myself? And how can I avoid being selfish while still looking out for myself? Here are some simple tips to help manage selfish tendencies. 1. Stop. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, am I being too self-centered right now? Recognizing the behavior is the first step. 2. Practice empathy. Try to see the situation from someone else's perspective. What might they be feeling or experiencing? 3. Focus on small acts of kindness. It doesn't take much. Hold a door open for someone or show small, thoughtful gestures that brighten someone's day. 4. Take time for yourself. Self-care is important too. Don't forget to prioritize your own needs, but balance it with consideration for others. By practicing these, you can maintain healthy selfishness while being a better person. What did you think of today's video? Selfishness is a natural instinct we all have, but the important thing is how we manage it. Ask yourself, am I living with a balance of self-care and consideration for others? If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you in the next video with more interesting and helpful topics. Bye for now.